For years, I've been building things in my workshop. I love making sawdust and turning a plain board into something cool. But I always had this nagging question in the back of my mind. What should I actually build if I wanted to sell it? I could spend weeks on a project, pour my heart and soul into it, and then it would just sit on a shelf. I realized I was just guessing what people might want to buy. And let's be honest, my guesses weren't always hitting the mark. It was time for a new approach. I decided to stop guessing and start asking. I wanted real answers from real people. So I decided to do a little experiment. Instead of just picking a project and hoping for the best, I would come up with a few ideas first. I wanted to create a small lineup of potential products. These would be things that are practical, useful, and something I could realistically make in my shop. I didn't want to design a giant dining table that would take a month to build. I needed smaller, more accessible projects. My goal was simple. Find out which of these ideas people would actually open their wallets for. It was a totally different way of thinking for me, putting the customer first before a single piece of wood was even cut. I sat down with a sketchbook and started brainstorming. I wanted a good mix of items that could appeal to different people. My first idea was a classic, a beautiful end-grain cutting board. Everyone needs one, and they can look amazing. Next, I thought about organization, so I designed a simple, modern floating wall shelf. It would be perfect for displaying photos or small plants. Then, my mind went to the home office, a place where clutter always seems to win. I came up with a compact desk organizer with spots for pens, a phone, and sticky notes. It was designed to keep a workspace tidy and look good doing it. My final idea was the smallest of the bunch, but maybe the most used. I designed a minimalist wooden phone stand. In today's world, our phones are always with us, so why not give them a nice place to rest on a desk or nightstand? It would hold the phone upright, making it easy to see notifications or watch videos. With my 4 ideas in hand, the cutting board, the wall shelf, the desk organizer, and the phone stand, I was ready for the next phase. I had my product lineup. Now I just needed to find 100 people to tell me which one they would actually choose to buy. Getting opinions from 100 people sounded like a big task, but I was determined. I decided to use the power of the internet. I created simple digital mock-ups of each of the 4 products. This way, people could see exactly what I was proposing. I wrote a short description for each one, highlighting its features and uses. Then, I put together a simple online poll. I shared the link with my email list, on my social media pages, and even asked friends and family to weigh in. The question was direct. If you were going to spend your hard-earned money, which of these 4 products would you buy? At first, the results were all over the place. It was a real horse race. The cutting board got a lot of early votes from people who loved to cook. They appreciated the craftsmanship and durability of an end-grain design. The floating shelf also had its fans. People commented that they loved the clean, modern look and could imagine it in their living rooms or bedrooms. It seemed like every product had a group of dedicated supporters. For a while, I thought I might end up with a 4-way tie, which wouldn't have helped me much at all. The opinions were so mixed, and I was glued to the screen watching the votes trickle in. After a couple of days, something interesting started to happen. One product began to pull ahead, slowly but surely. The desk organizer started gaining momentum. More and more votes were coming in for it. People left comments saying how much they needed something exactly like it. They were tired of their pens rolling off the desk and their phone getting lost under a pile of papers. The idea of a single, elegant solution to their desk clutter really resonated with them. It was fascinating to watch one product start to separate itself from the pack based on a real, everyday problem that people faced. By the end of the week, the vote was clear. With 100 responses logged, there was a definitive winner. The desk organizer had won by a landslide, capturing nearly half of all the votes. The phone stand came in second, the cutting board third, and the floating shelf came in last. I finally had my answer. It wasn't a guess. It wasn't a hunch. It was a decision made by 100 potential customers. I felt a huge sense of relief and excitement. I wasn't just going to build something I hoped would sell. I was going to build something people had already told me they wanted. Now it was time to get back into the workshop, and I was more motivated than ever. I knew I was building something with a purpose. The desk organizer won because it was practical. People loved that it had a dedicated spot for everything. There was a slot to stand up a phone, a couple of holes for pens and pencils, and a shallow tray for small items like paper clips or keys. It solved a common problem in a simple and effective way. It wasn't just a decorative object, it was a tool to help people stay organized and be more productive, and that's the feedback I kept seeing in the comments. But being useful wasn't enough. I knew it had to look good too. If people are going to put this on their desk and look at it every day, it needs to be something they enjoy seeing. Quality matters. So, I chose a beautiful piece of walnut for the project. Walnut has a rich, dark color and a gorgeous grain that just screams high-end. I spent extra time making sure every cut was perfect and every edge was sanded smooth. I didn't want to just make a functional box. I wanted to create a small piece of furniture, a little work of art that also happened to hold your pens. The design itself was simple, but I focused on the details. I used a router to create perfectly rounded over edges, which gave the organizer a soft, comfortable feel in the hand. I drilled the holes for the pens with precision, ensuring they were all perfectly aligned. The slot for the phone was cut at a slight angle, making the screen easy to view. After all the cutting and shaping was done, the most satisfying part began: sanding. I sanded it through multiple grits of sandpaper until the surface was as smooth as glass. This attention to detail is what separates a homemade project from a professional product. For the finish, I chose a simple oil and wax blend. This type of finish doesn't just sit on the surface like a plastic coating. It soaks into the wood, protecting it from the inside out and really making the natural color and grain pop. After a few coats, the walnut looked absolutely stunning. It had a deep, lustrous sheen that was beautiful to look at and felt great to touch. Holding the finished desk organizer in my hands, I felt a real sense of pride. This was the product that 100 people had chosen, and I had done my best to make it something special. With the beautiful desk organizer complete, it was time for the moment of truth. I set up a small photo shoot, taking pictures of it from every angle to showcase the quality and features. I wrote a detailed product description, mentioning that it was made from solid walnut and designed based on popular demand. Then, with a deep breath, I listed it for sale in my online store. The publish button was clicked, and just like that, it was out there for the world to see. Now, all I could do was wait. And let me tell you, the waiting is the hardest part. For the first day, there was nothing but silence. I must have refreshed the page 100 times, hoping to see that magical notification. I started to have doubts. Did I price it too high? Were my photos good enough? Maybe the 100 people who voted were the only people in the world who wanted one. But then, on the evening of the second day, it happened. My phone buzzed with an email notification. The subject line read, "You've made a sale, I couldn't believe it." Someone I didn't know, a complete stranger, had seen my work, liked it enough to get out their credit card, and bought it. The feeling was incredible. That first sale was more than just a transaction. It was a validation of the entire process. It proved that my little experiment worked. By taking the time to ask people what they wanted, I had created a product with a built-in audience. I wasn't just throwing something against the wall and hoping it would stick. I had data, I had feedback, and now I had a sale to prove that the concept was sound. This one little desk organizer taught me a more valuable lesson than any other project I've ever built in my shop. It's a lesson I'll carry with me for the rest of my woodworking journey. So here's the big takeaway. Stop guessing. If you want to make things that people will actually buy, you need to ask them. It might seem like extra work up front, but it will save you so much time, money, and heartache in the long run. Involve your potential customers in the creation process. They'll give you the roadmap to success. This whole experience has been a game changer for me, and I encourage every maker out there to try it. And now, I have to ask you, what product should I try next? Let me know in the comments.